Hey, good afternoon, everyone. So let me just adjust this a little bit. This is almost crooked. This is day 4 of the Crush Your Sugar Craving 5-day challenge. So far, just to recap, we have spoken a bit about making sure you have enough protein and healthy fats, and we're aiming for 90 to 120 grams per day of protein. And if you're a larger person, you might be on the higher end of that. If you're a smaller person, you might be on the lower end of that, depending upon how heavy you train. Just to recap, we also talked about hidden sources of sugar and possible, which types of sweeteners to choose if you are going to have something sweet, as long as you're balanced out with protein. So today, this is one of my favorite topics. I always talk about it all the time, is sleep and sugar cravings. Sleep, cortisol, and sugar cravings. Cortisol is our stress hormone that we secrete when we are need a little bit of energy, when we have a little bit of stress. There could be good stress, there could be bad stress, there could be, the adrenaline and cortisol kicks in when we're out running a predator, for instance, or averting danger. And we evolved, that saves our lives. These days, most stress is psychological. So what we end up having is this chronic stress. And that's kind of the American Western way. And that interferes with sleep a lot, people with chronic stress. And I'll go into that a little bit. But if you do not have your sleep regulated, then you are going to crave sugar, because your cortisol is going to be all over the map, and your body's going to be saying you need quick energy to avert danger, even if it's just like a deadline, or when you're in that raising kids phase of life. If you do that, any kind of psychological stress, financial stress, work stress, domestic stress at home, any kind of chronic stress is going to signal to our brain that you need more sugar and carbs for quick energy so that you can avert the danger. And that affects sleep. But the good news is, if we figure out how to sleep better and you regulate your sleep, then your cortisol is going to be more regulated. So the two work together. So I'll just go into one of my favorite little sleep hacks, and that is the blue light exposure is what we get from screens, and we have more blue. It's like it's daylight is more on the blue end of the spectrum, and that gets our cortisols up. That tells us it's time to wake up and time to do things. Now, if you're watching screens and working on the computer late at night, guess what that's going to do? It's going to tell you, time to wake up, time to do things, and it's going to be harder for you to go to sleep. So, the scrolling that some people do on their phones and iPads, or even just working late on the computer or studying on the computer late at night if you're a student, that is going to interfere with your sleep. I usually recommend people wearing blue blocker glasses. You can get non-prescriptive ones online pretty inexpensively. And if you wear prescriptive glasses, you can get a blue blocker coating on them. I have them on mine because I am on the computer a lot with my work, seeing people. And another hack that you could do is stop the screens, at least an hour before bedtime. I know for some people that's not possible, but if you can, that works well. And then having red light in the bedroom, just kind of turning off the lights so you have like red light. Red light signals to your brain to secrete melatonin, which is it's a hormone that we secrete that helps us sleep. And it also helps the migrating motor complex. I work a lot with digestive health, and melatonin is actually helps the digestive system move in its regular rhythm. So having red lights in your bedroom, you can have them on all the time, because that's the colors of sunset, and it signals your body that it's time to get ready to go to sleep. So red light, blue light, avoid the blue light, turn the red lights on at night, wear blue blocker glasses if you have to work on a screen late at night, or try to avoid screens altogether. So that's one of my favorite hacks. So one of the worst things that people do, talking about sleep and cortisol and blood sugar and sugar cravings, is, and this is big in America, is that people have coffee in the morning. Not that I have anything against coffee itself, but they do coffee with no breakfast or with a sweet breakfast, like a coffee and a donut. To start your day is like the worst. It's going to spike your blood sugars, and then they're going to come crashing down, because what coffee does is it tells your body to release some glucose, and it gives you a little bit of energy. So people drink the coffee, eat the donut, their blood sugar goes up, then their blood sugar goes down, and guess what? Then they're tired, they're like kind of feeling a little hypoglycemic, then they're going to crave sugar. So once again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I used to say the term broken record, but people don't, that kind of dates me. People don't listen to records anymore, but I'm going to say it again. To start your day with protein. You can still have coffee. I really have nothing against coffee. Just make sure it's not like a sweet coffee shop coffee with all, even the lattes at the brand, I don't know if I can say it on here, STAR blah, 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 blah. The big coffee chain. I don't want to get in trouble or get, for putting down a brand. That's not what I'm here to do. But they put a lot of sugar in those coffee drinks. And even if it's not a frappuccino or whatever, even if it's a latte, they dump a bunch of sugar in there. And so, inadvertently, you're getting some sugar to start, and caffeine to start your day. So, the American lifestyle, what is it? Everybody gets up super early, they drink their, sweetened latte thingy with a pastry. They go off to work, they're, barely eating, maybe they're grabbing and going, maybe they're sitting at their desk eating snacks, they go to the vending machine. I'm talking about maybe people that are on my page make better lifestyle choices, but the typical American thing is that they do that, and then they go home and they scroll their screens, and then they're like, I can't sleep, and then they wake up tired, they need to drink the coffee again, they start the whole cycle again. So, start your day with protein. It doesn't matter if you have some caffeine in the morning. Some people really need it, but just try to have 1 cup, if you can get away with 1 cup in the morning, to kind of get things moving. And then have your big protein breakfast. And that'll help regulate your cortisol, and then do the red lights at night. And then make sure, scan your bedroom. Some bedroom little devices, little plugs that we have in our bedroom, fans, air purifiers, air conditioners. Some of them have little blue lights on them, like the on switch or the off switch. Cover those over with tape. Any blue light in your bedroom is going to cut your melatonin levels down, which will interfere with sleep, it'll interfere with digestion, and it's just, they say that night shift workers have a higher incidence of cancer because their melatonin is suppressed, and they're finding that melatonin in high doses suppresses tumor growth. That's another whole other subject, but just cover up the blue lights and turn on the red lights. That will, you'll thank me someday, maybe. So stress, let's talk about stress. It seems like this session is jam-packed with information, but too much fight, flight, freeze, too much causes stress, elevates your cortisol. And when you elevate your cortisol, your body wants quick energy, and then you're going to crave the sugar and the carbs. It's just, your body's just going to be screaming for it. And add caffeine, and you get a real fun situation, a real cocktail. And add sugar sweetened coffees, from the coffee shop, and we get a metabolic nightmare, a lot of inflammation. So we want to regulate cortisol. Too much cortisol is going to be bad. And then what happens if you've had chronic stress of years and years and years? A lot of these people, they run a cortisol test, and their cortisol is low. It is flatlined from the chronic stress. It's sort of like a J curve. If you're pretty healthy and you have stress, your cortisol is going to be up here. And then, but if you keep doing that for years and years, say you go to, you go through high school and you take all the IB courses and are busy 12 hours a day every day, and you're young, you can handle it maybe. And what do students eat? They eat a lot of coffee, a lot of sugar. Teenagers don't eat well, typically. Some do. And then they go to college, and all of a sudden they're like, there's social, and then there's the work, and then there, exams, and they're up late studying, or they should be, and, or maybe they're partying. And, it just keeps going for years. And then they decide to go to grad school, or they start working, and just burning the candle on both ends. So a lot of time people, by the time they hit 30, their cortisol is flat. I see that a lot. And they're like, why do I feel so bad? That actually happened to me. I went through, after I went through medical school, I was pretty tired for several years, and I had to really work to build my adrenals back. But that's kind of the American way, sad to say. And so low cortisol is going to make you hungry all the time, fatigued all the time. You're going to be wanting that quick energy, and your body's going to start craving sugar and carbs as well. So the answer to all this is protein and sleep. So it's very simple. And exercise, but not too much exercise, because that really can wreck your metabolism too. So you do the right kind of exercise, which that's a whole subject in itself. But the people who have low cortisol, they have constant hunger. They like literally can drink a cup of coffee and then go down and take a nap. But then they wake up in the middle of the night. So it's not a good deep sleep. So they get poor sleep as well. So that's cortisol. It wouldn't be right to go through this module on sleep without mentioning alcohol. Alcohol affects sleep. And the body, some people drink a nightcap, right? It's a depressant initially, the alcohol, but then it affects the brain in a way that a lot of people wake up and don't sleep well. And so alcohol in the long run will interfere with your sleep. It'll interfere with the liver. And the liver is most active at 3 a.m. in the Chinese medicine clock. So if you go without sleep, or even if you work night shift and you're up at 3 a.m., your liver is not detoxifying enough. Everything is kind of thrown out of balance. So you add chronic alcohol or daily alcohol use to that, and it's going to impact sleep, hormone metabolism, mood, energy, and even though alcohol detoxifies into aldehydes, which are toxic, the body still reads it as a sugar. So a lot of people who crave alcohol are also craving sugar. So those people, especially who are in recovery for alcohol, definitely need to hit their macros with protein. Being low protein with that situation is not a good thing. So definitely with like alcohol addiction and all that, that's a whole other subject. I'm not going to get into it too much, but if you're a light social drinker and you notice that after you have a drink that your sleep is off, you're not alone. It's very common. So, and it's all related to blood sugar and sugar craving and all that. You know, it all kind of works on the same metabolic pathways. So definitely sleep, super important to regulate cortisol and to get your cortisol in a good place. Some people will need some adrenal support, and you'll need to work with stress management perhaps, you know, breathing exercise, you know, quiet time, some restorative type stretching or yoga. All that stuff really helps calm the nervous system. We want to get into rest and digest and repair, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, whereas stress and cortisol is fight, flight, freeze. And some of us spend all day in fight, flight, freeze, and it's hard to unwind. So we definitely want to work with that, and we definitely, you know, need to get that regulated. And when you have enough dietary protein, it's going to help your sleep. And when you get your cortisols regulated, it's going to help your sleep. And then conversely, you know, congruently, I should say, when you sleep well, it's going to help control your sugar cravings so that you're not overrun by the sugar craving monster, what I call it, you know, where it just like feels like an out-of-body experience and something just comes over you, and before you know it, that whole sleeve of cookies is gone. You know, that's rough. So doing these things, the protein, stress management, sleep, basic biological terrain, lifestyle things, but so important and so easy to forget and not prioritize. You know, your sugar cravings are going to take over. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. If you came in the middle of this, I saw that some people came in while I was talking, and that's fine. You can. I'm going to post it. You're going to be able to catch the whole reel on my feed, on my Instagram feed. So anyway, so lovely to have you. Tomorrow is day 5 of the Instagram Crush Your Sugar Craving 5-day challenge. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Same time, 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. I'm trying to stay consistent, even though I was a little bit all over the map this week. Had to kind of fit it in to where I had space. But anyway, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And thank you for joining me. And reach out if you have any questions. Anyway, have a good rest of your day.